Hi,
Hey, Latha, how are you?
how are you, Vinesh?
Very well. So good to see you.
So good to see you too. So, doing all well in Bangalore?
It's not that bad actually. I mean, we're not open for dine-in, but we're doing
Yeah.
something. We're coming to work, trying to figure things out.
Okay.
Going on. How you been?
I've been good, but are you doing delivery or no?
We are doing only takeaways and delivery, no dine-in.
Yeah. Oh, no,
Yeah.
dine-in. Okay,
Though
but that's
though we are
still great.
allowed to do dine-ins, we just felt like it's something that we didn't want to do as of now.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a sensible decision. Even my friend owns, Kapachaka Kandari,
Of course,
KCK. Yeah.
of course.
So,
I've never been
yeah.
and I wanted to go,
Oh,
but
you
then this
must. Yeah.
pandemic and all that, and then it never happened. Like I remember
Okay.
Shafiki Ratnani, who was in Bangalore for a short bit. He said you have to go check that place out. So I heard lot of great things about Kapachaka
Yeah.
Kanda.
You must go there. The food is great. But of course, let's talk about your food. Since you were very specific. You said I don't want to talk about myself. I said, yeah, that's fine. Let's talk about food.
Because as soon as the lockdown was announced, I think every
Hmm.
chef was only doing lives for something for
Oh,
some reason.
really?
Like I just used to go on Instagram. Like now it's reduced completely. I think
Huh.
it would be great to like give people a refresher course or whatever. But it was insane. Like everyone was live going live with some other chef and talking about. And then I went a couple of times and I was like, I'm saying the same thing again. That's why
Yeah,
I
I
wanted to ask you.
understand. Yeah, yeah, no. I am a foodie of sorts. I mean, I love food, though I'm vegetarian, but I love, love, love desserts. That's like my biggest weakness, and
Stunning.
which is why I keep looking at all your pictures, and I'm like, oh my
Man,
God, I can't come and eat, because of course we can't
yeah.
travel. But whenever I come to Bangalore, which is once in 3 months, my friends and I always land up at Lavonne, and we always have a meal, and of course the desserts. Um, so I specifically wanted to talk to you about desserts because, of course, you've been trained, you've lived abroad, you have a lot of international influences and things. But don't you think COVID, in one way, especially in India, okay, has done something good because everybody's baking. They've taken to baking in such a big way.
Yeah. In fact, when I just came back from Finland on like almost the right time before the whole
Okay.
lockdown was announced.
Hmm.
I had a little gig to do in Croatia, but that got cancelled. So I had to rush back to India. And then as soon as I came back, I think in 5 days they announced the lockdown.
Hmm.
So first 2 weeks, obviously I had no clue what to do. I tried to watch as much TV. It was great. My wife was at home, so we got to spend a lot of time together because she's Malaysian and she travels quite a bit as well.
Okay.
So it was great. The first 2 weeks was like, man, this is awesome. Like we needed
Right.
this, and we just had to just do fun things at home, and we're cooking quite a lot and all of that. And then it got to me at one point. It
Yeah.
looked like this lockdown is not getting over. So I
Hmm.
started sharing all the easy back to basic recipes on my Instagram,
Hmm.
which got a lot of nice feedback from people who were trying to make it at home. Uh,
Hmm.
and then I could just see that so many people were baking, and across everybody was baking quite a bit. So
Yeah, yeah. Because everybody's making their own bread, which is unheard of in our country, at least, at least in the Western, I think abroad, many people they bake their own bread, make tarts, make
yeah,
pies, and so on.
yeah,
But in India, we hardly do that, right? We make a lot of
yeah,
Indian desserts. We don't do.
yeah.
So it was great to see that people were actually taking to that. But then, um, do you think there is going to be a change, due to the lockdown, due to, what's happened, that people have been forced to stay at home. Do you think there's going to be a change even on the food scene as far as this is concerned?
I was a little bit worried because at one point I could see that a lot of people started cooking at home. And, I was like, man, if they all learn how to cook, what are they going to do? They're going to be like, why should I pay 400 rupees for this salmon in a restaurant? I can make this for 250 at home.
Right.
Um, you know, I was a little bit worried, but I also realized that that enthusiasm dies down at some point when you actually have to get to your work.
Yeah.
I've gone back to ordering restaurant food. I now come and ask the chef at Lavonne to help me prepare a meal because that whole excitement of going and buying groceries
Hmm.
and then cooking at home, having that entire time is not there anymore. So I'm guessing it'll be nice if people start cooking at home more because it's something that I will also give them an understanding of why your favorite restaurants do food in a certain way because there is a lot of thought process gone behind designing a menu or trying to put a dish together.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of respect that I have for chefs who do that. So, so I'm guessing they'll appreciate it more now that they also start cooking at home and understand the things that go behind making some amazing food.
Yeah. No, but I think, I don't like to cook. Let me be very honest. I don't like to cook.
No, I
No.
thought you cook.
No. I eat. I do not like to cook.
So
I go
nothing at
out
all.
a lot. I mean, I can make stuff, I can make pasta, I can make sambar, whatever, but I
So
don't
you
like South
you
Indian.
cook home food like Indian food?
No,
No. So breakfast
no.
is like toast in the morning, is it?
I have oats and stuff like that.
Oh my God.
Lunch,
At least
lunch.
ID idli batter. No?
No, that batter, yeah, but that's there. But I have food that gets catered in, like
Okay.
so everything is. I don't like to cook, and it's been there for a long time. The only thing I like cooking is pasta because I love pasta. That's my favorite, and desserts.
You make your own pasta, you buy the pasta.
Of course, I can't make my own pasta.
I'm going to change this after this conversation. I'm going to make you
I
make
don't
your
like
own pasta.
cooking. I love pasta, but I think I'm not mentally in that. Like, I have my friend's daughter, and I hope you get to meet her someday. She started cooking and baking at the age of 9, and here she
Wow.
trains with Sandesh. You know Sandesh Reddy?
Yeah, yeah. I've heard of his
Sandy's,
restaurant called Sandy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he has a whole chain, Old Madras baking company, and so on. So she trains with him, and she wants to go to the Culinary Institute of America. So she's
Right.
preparing for that. She's 15 now. So anyway, so when I love the kind of desserts that you do, and I think when you're talking about cooking and all that, some of those things you can't replicate at home. You absolutely can't, because
Yeah.
I think that requires a professional to do that, right?
Yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
no way that restaurants will ever get replaced. But I agree with you that people will get bored after a while, you know. And I also think going out to a restaurant is more about the ambience, you can hang out with friends, you can have a drink, and I think
Yeah.
it's all that as well,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
when you came to India and you started, your patisserie bakery and your academy, initially what was the reaction like? And today, of course, it's far more evolved because the Indian palate has also evolved far more today, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So the thing is, I didn't come back from anywhere. I never went anywhere in the first place.
But
So
you were like you were traveling abroad quite a bit. I mean,
all the
learning stuff.
traveling, all the traveling happened only in the last 3 4 years, I would say. Like, but
Oh,
in the
really?
beginning, it was uh, uh, finished Christ College Hotel Management, and
Yeah.
then worked for Star Group of Hotels in Hyderabad, and
Hmm.
then immediately left that to start Lavonne. Um, and the reason of for starting Lavonne was also because there was no enough money to go to any other country to figure out how to make pastry. So I said, if there is one like me, then there will be more like me. So I might as well start my own school, you know.
Hmm.
So we put the resources together to start a little school, and 8 years from now, Lavonne is what it is.
Hmm.
That being said, in the 8 years that I saw Lavonne, or in my journey of from in doing uh, in this journey of me being part of Lavonne, I could see that pastry changed so much from what it used to be. Like even for
Hmm.
us, the kind of knowledge that we had to now, how much exposure there is to just generally accessing information itself is too easy right now. So anybody who wants to make a good dessert, it's too
Hmm.
easy to get a recipe. It's really not about the recipe anymore. You know, it's about really training them to know
Is that
how
your
do you
friend?
take those.
Sorry.
Where
Chef Van Kessel, do you know him?
Hi chef, it'll be great to
Okay.
meet you someday. Rati Vaswani is here.
Okay.
You know Rakhi Vaswani. She's a famous chef who cooks for all the Bollywood people. You know.
Oh, lovely.
Uh, anyway,
Hmm.
what was I saying?
You were talking about the access to information, how much easier
Yeah,
it
I
had
said, you know,
become, and
it's too
yeah.
easy to get whatever recipes you want because firstly, all the chefs are
Hmm.
anyway sharing the recipes out. But I feel what people would eventually have to do is figuring out what is the right process and technique to how you treat those ingredients to make that food taste really awesome. I think that's where it changes from you experimenting at home and then going and experiencing the same thing at the restaurant or in a pastry shop.
Yeah, but some of the things you do are not that easy. I mean, the processes are quite complicated in some of the desserts that you make, isn't it?
In some of it, it is because of the number of elements that go into making one thing. But you could make everything at home, honestly. Like you could make everything at home, but the effort is too much.
Yeah.
It just takes too much of figuring out and how will I do it. Okay, this domestic fridge is not is not powerful enough, and then you're
Mm.
like, I could make this in 20 minutes at at the professional kitchen, which is going to take me like 3 hours. Should I put that effort in or not, you know? But I
Mm.
feel like this whole pandemic has given me a complete different perspective of what can be made at home,
Okay.
because I don't have a romantic story about how I got into baking. It was not like my grandma was a baker and you know I helped her in the kitchen. None of that. I was put into a pastry kitchen during my internship. I just liked being around the pastry kitchen because it was nice and cold in that kitchen,
Mm.
and generally I felt like my skills in the pastry kitchen were much more better than me trying to do anything else in the other areas.
Mm.
So post that, it has only been professional kitchens for me. I've never got a chance to bake at home. I can't even
Right.
remember baking at home at all. And I would never do it also because why should, if I bake at work, why should I come back home and do it
Yeah.
for like who?
Yeah.
And also my wife, she's also a pastry chef. So we just don't do anything at home. We just chill, watch television, do, you know, play games or
Yeah.
whatever. So the whole lockdown made me bake at home, and I realized there's so many things you can make at home. Uh, and the only thing that I was also trying to share was not really recipes, but the kind of way I would take a simple dessert and tweak it slightly so that you get a sort of inspiration to build on from there on, you know, so that
Mm.
people are not just making a chocolate cupcake. How can you take a chocolate cupcake to one level up and
Mm.
then leave them there so that they can also then use their sort of brains to come up with something different, you know. Uh,
Right.
so so I did a bunch of gulab jamuns that were different because it was also new. I've never made gulab jamuns myself. Did you see?
Okay. No.
Did you see my gulab jamun? You're gonna check it out after this. It's
Okay.
really cool. I did a pancake yesterday. Easy stuff. And then
Easy
I
stuff.
try
Okay.
and do one or two complicated things. But that's only for sharing techniques or sharing ideas, sharing inspiration, so that people
Mm.
at home can also come up with some some nice tasty things for their family or if they're doing some business out of it. Because at this point, I think it's better to be together and try and help each other out because there's nothing else we can do.
Mm. What do you think about this whole trend in India of the fusion food? You know, where they marry the Indian dessert with the Western dessert. There's a lot of that was happening last year.
I mean, it still happens quite a bit, but for me, fusion is if you can take an Indian dessert and reinvent it in a way where you're putting proper science into it. But if you're going to take a classic creme brulee and put a gulab jamun and bake it,
Yeah.
then I feel like you're not justifying that process because
Hmm.
you don't have a creme brulee, neither do you have a good gulab jamun. So when
Yeah.
I did a gulab jamun, the first one that I did was caramelized banana with hazelnut or something like that.
Hmm.
And then I took down the rest. I took down all the ingredients that go into gulab jamun, and I said, okay, it's got milk powder. Now, what can I
Hmm.
do to treat this milk powder differently?
Hmm.
Can I caramelize the milk powder itself? So I toasted the milk powder, and I got reduced the amount of sweetness that are there in the milk solids that are there in the milk powder. And then I
Hmm.
saw there was milk. I said, what can I replace milk with? Because that is a binding agent which acts like, which just binds all these ingredients together. So I wanted to
Right.
use caramelized banana, which you can use caramelized banana as a binding agent. And it will give you
Okay.
a much more softer texture compared to what milk would give.
Hmm.
So those are the kind of things you need to think of when you're trying to reinvent a particular dessert. You need to know that I also know that in the sugar syrup, um, we've been only using granulated sugar, which is one kind of sugar which is constant. The sugars in India is probably honey and granulated sugar. We don't use any other sugars. But in pastry, we have so many kind of sugars. We have tremolin, we have dextrose, we have glucose. Also, all those ingredients work differently to give a certain result. So I changed the syrup a little bit, reduced the sweetness there, gave it a little bit different sort of a consistency. Those are the kind of things
Little
that it was,
tweaks.
that's interesting for a pastry chef to do to Indian sweets if
Hmm.
they want to
Hmm.
do something different, I would say.
Okay. So, what have you been, have you invented or, come up with some new ideas during the lockdown for Lavon or even personally, other than the gulab jamun that you spoke about? Is there anything else that you've been doing which is going to go on the menu anytime?
Um, In fact, I share a lot of things, and then
Hmm.
some just go like super crazy. I did something
Uh-huh.
called the mind blowing chocolate cake,
Okay.
and it went like super viral. There were like so many people who made it, and they were tagging me, and there were a lot of people who also wanted to eat it and didn't want to make it. So we put it out on a menu, and it's
Right.
only via pre-order. We do only 10 cakes a day, and we sell
Okay.
10 cakes a day. It's been almost a week
Hmm.
and a half since the second lockdown was open, and we're still selling it. But it's
Right.
it's open information to everybody. Everybody can make it. It's not a secret anymore.
Yeah, I like the way you're saying everybody can make it, but but there are people like me who still just want to order it and eat it. One of the things which I find, is that abroad they pay so much of attention to detail, to plating. You know, in India, it's more about the flavors and the aromas, and I don't know if we pay that much of attention to plating. But when it comes to dessert, plating is as important as the taste, isn't it?
Yeah. I think at one point when it comes to aesthetics of a dessert, you get so confident that it really doesn't matter anymore about how it's going to look on the plate because you can make it look good. It's like
Hmm.
you've done so many plates that when you get a different shape where the dessert is going to be, where the main component is going to be, where the side elements
Hmm.
are going to be. Like it doesn't stress me out on how this plate is going to look anymore. Like it used
Hmm.
to be the factor that I used to be worried about before.
Hmm.
And what eventually happens in that process is you kind of lose uh, what the experience you want to give to a customer or the guest.
Hmm.
I feel like
Hmm.
the first thing is always the taste. What do you want to serve? How it needs to be? What is the size of the cold part, which is going to be next to the mousse, or what's the ratio of crumble that's going to be? What the kind of texture they're going to experience?
Hmm.
When they put all of how are they going to approach this plate? Is it going to be spread out? Those kind of things that needs to
Hmm.
be
Hmm.
thought through,
Hmm.
and then actually you can make it look nice. I think it's almost easy now to make something look great because also desserts there are a lot of nice things to make it look nice with. It's not like a bowl of curry that you have to be worried about how can I present this. You have seven elements. You just need to know how to place it differently.
Right. Okay. You've of course named, some chefs who you look up to in terms of who inspire you, I think, where desserts are concerned. But are there any Indian chefs who kind of inspire you?
I mentioned that somewhere that there are chefs that I look up to.
There is, or who you learnt from, if I could
I
say
mean,
that.
there are so many chefs that I've trained with,
Okay.
and I've gotten a chance to meet in my travels or them coming to Lebon, and I've made some of the best friends. Even now, some of the chefs who I constantly talk to are not even in India.
Hmm.
But if you ask me who inspires me the most, it's not that all these chefs aren't at that level or what, but
Hmm.
the people that inspire me the most are the people that work at Lavonne. It's
Okay.
incredible the kind of things that they do, and
Huh.
I've seen everyone's journey a certain way, and I can see, because these are the people I see every single day. The kind of
Hmm.
work that they put into making their craft so nice, and
Hmm.
it's insane. Like everybody is sitting, thinking of ideas, brainstorming. We're discussing about concepts. We're trying out something new all the time. Someone has an idea, then it becomes a group discussion. It's a vibe that is. is special, you know. So I'm part of this group every day, and you know I feel super blessed to be a part of this group who's constantly on that sort of, you know, even though some days you're not motivated, then you walk into
Right.
the room, you're like, oh yeah, all right, and let's go make something cool. So I love the team; they inspire me the most.
But are they all trained by you and your wife, the
No,
team?
everybody has a different, like there are some students who eventually worked somewhere and came back to us.
Hmm.
Then there are some chefs who I studied with in Christ College who's come back. And then we have now, it's a group from across. You know, we have some chefs who train in France and some chefs who train in Canada. But eventually it takes a while for you to like get used to our chefs at Lavonne, the staff room that we have. And then everybody is then on the same boat, and then we're all talking the same language.
So, Vinesh, what do you hope to achieve? You know, you started your academy, you're training people, you've got your bakery and your patisserie and the cafe, of course. And so, where do you see Lavon heading? And what's your aim eventually?
I mean, when we started off Lavon, it was to give a platform for people like me who couldn't spend the monies to go abroad and still
Hmm.
get a certain level of education that is in par at what people get abroad. Now
Hmm.
I feel like we've reached a level where we definitely know that it's in par or even better than what you would get abroad.
Hmm.
It's about now how we are changing perception of how Indian pastry chefs are doing their craft as well. Because you know, when you think of a say a Japanese pastry chef, even though he's not French, or a Korean
Hmm.
pastry chef, they demand a certain amount of respect. Like you know that
Yeah.
that guy is going to come and do insane stuff. And I can see that happening to Indian pastry chefs too, because now chefs like me or the other chefs at Lebon, and then there are other chefs across the country who are like in the field of pastry, invited to different parts of the world to take classes, and that's
Hmm.
that's 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 awesome because you know pastry is not something. It's not our craft in the beginning
Yeah.
to start with,
Yeah.
right? And now
Yeah.
they know that we have a certain amount of understanding to ingredients that they don't have access to or they don't know enough about, and how we manipulate, say, the spices or how we understand dairy is different, and then bringing that and bringing those kind of cultures to make, like, I feel like pastry is now not French anymore or not Asian anymore. It's global.
Hmm.
It's same across the world. We all have
Hmm.
access to great ingredients. We all have access to great knowledge, and now we're trying to make desserts that are super inspired by what we are grown up with. So
Hmm.
everybody has a unique way to showcase their skills, and
But
it's
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead.
You're asking me.
No, no. Go ahead.
I lost what I was saying.
Okay. But working in this particular space, it requires constant innovation and training as well, isn't it? I mean, it's not like you can say, yeah, I've learned everything today. I mean, every day you keep upgrading, you learn a new technique, right?
Absolutely. I feel in the beginning days, and I keep telling this to all the new chefs,
Hmm.
that you have to know your basics in and out. Like if you don't know the rules, you can't
Hmm.
breathe through. So know the rules really, really well. Like I know a lot of young chefs are dying to come and like show some mad ideas, and they have some crazy ideas. But when you usually don't, some ideas click and some ideas don't click because the foundation is still a little bit shaky. Like you don't know if you add egg yolks here, what will happen. If you don't know that, then there's going to be a problem in your final product. So if you know all of that and you've spent enough time making the greatest pastry cream and you know the best croissant dough or the best choux pastry, like when you know all the basics, it's fundamentally you're like sorted that you can walk into any kitchen, take the ingredients and make it. Then you can do whatever you want. Then you can go and say, I want to add more milk to my choux pastry and make it a little bit more soft because that's the texture I want to give to the customer. Otherwise, you're like, oh, did this choux pastry go flat because I did something wrong? You know, you shouldn't feel like you made a mistake because you need to know
Hmm.
why you are doing something, right?
Hmm.
And for the chefs who have been in the scene for a long time and now what is next for them, the only way that they're going to uh, the only way they can do things is constant innovation, right? So Like
Mm.
every 6 months, I know that there is something that's we've already planned a bunch of ideas that's going to come out every 6 months from Lebon. Like we did the mood fills. 6 months before that, we launched something like called as the bucket cake. There was something called as the shumelos that was supposed to come out, but the pandemic came, so we gave that like a break.
Mm.
And now we're just doing, whatever is popular, which is mind blowing chocolate cake or the life changing brownies, stuff like that.
Mm.
So these are not something that's going to be on your menu all the time,
Mm.
because in a pastry shop you need to have your regulars, which is going to be there throughout. Your best chocolate cake, your chocolate chip
Mm.
cookie, the most amazing cheesecake that you can get, because those are the things that people want to eat quite often. But
Yeah.
once in a while you need to have this, so that it adds that sort of, because people also want to try something new. They want to be a part of a thing that's being talked about, stuff like that.
Yeah, but when it comes to baking, especially the kind of desserts that you do you get all those ingredients which you get abroad here? Because the variety of ingredients, the kind of ingredients that you get, right? If you're in Paris or if you're in the US, I mean, do you get all that in India for you to be able to, you know?
Yeah, right now we can get anything we want, because we have the thing is, it's changed so much in the past 8 years, that I
Hmm.
remember 8 years ago we used to find it extremely difficult to get like an almond flour,
Hmm.
or good puree, great gelatin, dairy whipping cream. There was such inconsistency in supplies, and now, the thing is, there is everything available to us. You have
Hmm.
whatever you want from whichever part of the world, including fresh berries that grow in, I don't know, Denmark. It reaches you in a
Hmm.
day's time. But it's getting changed the other way now. Like before, I remember chefs usually having, on the menu, lamb of rat, New Zealand, salmon
Yeah.
from Norway. You know,
Yeah.
Now they're not so proud about getting salmon from Norway, because they want to showcase their local produce. But unfortunately, in pastry, we've not reached a certain level where I can say we have the best chocolate in India yet,
Yeah.
or we have the best dairy cream yet. But if I have an option, and if if there is something that's local, that's my first option. Like that is, no matter what, even if somebody from wherever wants to have a collaboration, I would want to I want to work with the people that are producing some amazing stuff in India
Hmm. But that's why it becomes such an expensive proposition, isn't it?
at this
Um,
point of time. But I can see that a lot of bean to bar chocolate brands have started. They're doing some amazing work. Eventually, they're gonna like maybe import only cocoa beans and then process that here. So
hmm.
all of that is still fine, because depends on the kind of ingredients, the base ingredients that we're using too. Like for example, Valrhona, which is one of the best chocolate brands in the world, is based in France, but they don't. France doesn't grow cocoa. It
Right.
grows in
Yeah.
Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we can figure that out too, making the best chocolate.
Yeah. But I think, if you look at the Indian culinary space, pastry is I think it's in the lower end of the hierarchy, so to speak, isn't it? I mean, it's still a very niche area in India today.
I can see that that there is it's a way more developed niche than what it used to be. Or
Hmm.
firstly, there's an incredible amount of people baking at home already.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, the home baking situation is only getting more and more. It's not that it's getting, and in the pandemic it got even more. So
Yeah.
a lot more people trust their neighbors to bake the cake than ordering it off a Lavonne, for example. Maybe they're like,
Hmm.
okay, at least I know these are my neighbors, and if she can bake a good cake, it's fine. I can celebrate it with, and they want to
Hmm.
support all of that. So it's nice that there's this whole community building that's also happening. And at the same time, that is what we want to empower. Like for us, Lavon as a brand has always been about trying to make sure that if you're an entrepreneur, I want you to be the best in what you're doing, because we want to give you those skills to make sure you take your skills to the next level, or do it
Hmm.
the right way, or understand the techniques. I mean, I know you're baking a cake and it's not doing a heart surgery, but you can still bake a cake to perfection if you know the right skills or the right techniques.
Right. Um, uh, uh, I also wanted to ask you about what, you've got Lavonne Academy in Bangalore. Are you looking at expanding? Are you, planning to set up numerous institutes across India? What is that going to be like? Do you have expansion plans?
Um, I can see Akshara Gada here.
Yeah,
You know Akshara Gada.
yeah, she's an actor.
Uh, yeah,
Hello,
she.
Akshara.
Uh,
Is
Hi
she a
Akshara.
friend of yours?
She is, and the
Yeah.
first time we met was after she tried the mood pills. That was almost a year ago. So
Okay.
1 year ago. Yeah, what was I saying about expanding to other cities? So we were very unclear about what our expansion plans were.
Hmm.
Uh, Say in 2016, 2017 was the time when we were like trying to figure out what is the right way for us to. And sometimes you get a lot of ideas and say, we have to be in Bombay too, we have to be in Delhi if you're not in, all of that kind of conversation. But I feel like we've got that clarity now, and for us, especially as an academy, there are other ways to reach the other audiences.
Hmm.
But I feel like more than anything, what makes Lavonne is the sort of atmosphere we're able to create in this place. I don't know
Hmm.
at this point in time if we can replicate that sort of vibe
Right.
in another place and manage that sort of thing. It's not just about giving information or knowledge. It's also there's a lot of things
Hmm.
that come along with this entire building that we do. It's just pastry bakery throughout.
Hmm.
So at this point in time, there's no plans of going to Bombay, Delhi. It's just Bangalore.
No, but I think that's a great, in terms of strategy, it's great as well because then, you become stronger and people
Yeah.
recognize you. They come to you, and I think that's much better than trying to just expand. And we've
And
also seen
I
that.
also feel like when it comes to education, it can't become too much of a commodity. It needs
Hmm.
to be treated like education. Like as of now, we've never ever done like a discount because we really don't give a discounted education. It's not like early bird sign up for all that doesn't happen. Like this is the course.
Yeah.
It's put out 1 year in advance. The courses get sold out 1 year in advance because there is a certain amount of understanding of what you're going to experience when you come to a Lamont,
Right.
because we are here to only give you that. Like we only know bakery pastry, and we want to make sure that you go with everything that you have to go with before you go and start doing anything else. Either you're going to love the trade, or you're going to be like, okay, this is too much. Let me just bake at home. I don't want to take it up professionally. Or you'll be like, I can go and kill it in the industry. You know. So that's the
Right.
focus.
Okay, so one thing I want to know, how do you pick the students who want to join? Is there like I'm sure you have certain criteria, right? It's not like everybody who applies can just pay the money and get in.
So we we have admin team. There are a bunch of people
Yeah,
who sit there who read through why they want to do this.
right.
And at this point in time, we do only 80 applicants every
Per
six
year.
months.
Oh,
Every
six
6 months.
months.
It's two
So the
batches.
course is 6 months. The
Yeah,
course is 6 months. Okay.
yeah. And then we give
So,
them a call and say that,
but
you
what
will
do
not
you look
necessarily.
for? What do you look for in an upcoming pastry chef?
Honestly, I really, I'm okay with having anybody because I feel like in the time that I've spent in teaching, it's really you don't really need to look for anything. You just need to know that the person is serious about doing this. That's it. Because your skills develop over time, and even if it's not, uh, uh, if you're not able to pipe the most cleanest lines, there are other things you can do, and it will still become the newest product line. Like you can make rustic tarts, which does not need the finesse in making a clean dessert, but still that could be the most delicious tart, and that could be the talk of the town for the next. I don't know. You try to create a new product that you feel you can do, right? Um, so I'm not very focused on if this person who can do this would be the right pastry candidate or right bakery candidate.
Right.
You just need to know that you're here to make delicious food. You need to know that you're going to do it with all honesty because there are a lot of shortcuts that you can take in making food, which is not
Right.
going to like be the right decision using inferior quality ingredients or there are so many things that can happen because
Right.
there is a shortcut to everything. Like
Right.
if you have to make a dosa batter and you have to rest it for five hours, don't take it out in 2 hours. Those are the things that I'm very like. Just have those
Hmm.
principles when you want to come and do bake with me. You know?
But Vinesh, not everybody can be a successful, pastry chef, right? Because you can, make a sambar, a rasam, that's fine. But pastry is not like that. Um, I mean, you've become really successful, but that also shows that you have the talent. It's innate. You develop the skills and
I
so
think
on.
everybody else is way more talented than me. So if I could do it, I'm sure
Really?
that everyone else can do it.
Why would you say that?
I think so. I just feel like the it's not a difficult thing to do. It's you're still making cakes, and I feel like you just need to be a little bit passionate, a little bit. Uh, if you can think a little bit out of the box, that'll kind of put you in a more unique space.
Hmm.
But that's all there is.
Okay. So your journey, how long did it get you? I mean, it took you about a decade to get you here, right?
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
been
And
baking from 2007 now. My God.
yeah. So no, but today you're one of India's, best pastry chefs. I mean, are you happy to where you've got? And 10 years is, honestly speaking, it's far less time to, make a name for yourself pan India or even globally. I mean, there are other chefs who struggle for years and were pretty good at their craft, but they've never made it as big, especially Indian chefs.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know if like I say, the passion is never to like become to be on a list or be recognized by anybody else as you're the best pastry chef. It really doesn't matter to me if I'm on another some one of those lists that says 40 best chefs in the country or
Right.
50 best chefs in the world. It's great because those are kind of a little bit, it's nice because chefs also get excited about being recognized and things like that. But at the end of it, you really need to feel like you're doing the right thing for the craft. Like what matters to me are the students that walk into Lebon. If those people are getting the education that that we want to do, then those are the things that really get me excited. And it's constant. It's not one-off days. It's every day trying to think of doing the best. And eventually, those are the kind of things that you need to do because you better be over prepared for the kind of success that you might get instead of being under prepared for and then you don't know what to do after that. If you become super famous but you don't know how to do pastry, then there's a problem. You know, like one Instagram post goes crazy viral and you have like 1 million followers the next day, but
Uh,
then you only knew how to make that one thing. Then there's you have to keep working on your craft every single day. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. There are days
hmm.
that I make a dessert which doesn't taste bad. There are days I've burnt a cake. There are days that you forget things. There are days that the thing that you've done before, I'm like, hey man, what was the science behind this? You go back and read those things. Even now, when we get into a class, we take back the books. You forget these things. You read a little bit and go back, even after 12 years of teaching. So
Hmm.
it's working on it every single day is what I think.
Okay, so you've traveled around the world a lot. What are some of the best desserts you've eaten? Not the ones you've made. I mean,
Yeah.
around the world. Yeah.
Um. Wow. Actually, I like something from everywhere. That's the problem. I love food. Like,
Name a
eh,
couple of things.
um, I'm trying to think of things that just gonna be the top of my mind. I remember eating a cheesecake in Japan. It was called Pablo's Cheesecake Shop or something like that. I can't really
Okay.
remember exactly what it is, but
Huh.
it's just in like the desserts that I ate in Japan, I felt like were some of my most favorite because it had this sort of right balance in sweetness, or they found of kind of soft textures, which are
Hmm.
kind of things that I like.
Hmm.
When it's creamy, it has to be super creamy for me. Like I don't want most that is little bit hard or uh, doesn't melt in your mouth. Those kind of things
Hmm.
are really they perfected that really well. And then when I was in Belarus, I ate something called as sirniki, which is cottage cheese that's just grilled with raspberry jam. It was so simple, but I think everything else on the buffet was so shockingly not as what I expected to be. And this was like, my God, this tastes so good. So I kept eating only this for like 12 days straight. So,
Okay.
I'll never forget Sirnikis. Just, I don't know, it's just memories and these kind of things that happen with food that just keeps it special for you.
Okay, super. So, Vinesh, there are a lot of fans who are, watching this and who have been thanking you so much for your online classes that you've been taking, apparently, sharing recipes. What are these online classes you've been doing? Is it the ones on Instagram?
No, Lavonne has been hosting a lot of online classes. It's paid workshops. Uh,
Okay.
so it's been tremendous. I thank them for joining in because now, the only thing that till up till now, Lavon was for people who could travel to Lavon, and now
Yeah.
because of the pandemic, we just tried saying, you know what, let's just try having one online class, and the response was amazing. So we've been doing a lot of online classes, and which has given access to students who are from different parts of the world. We have students who are signing up in from Middle East to the States. And it feels nice, to just know that we're on the right track, even though it's tough times for across everybody. Um, I know that the craft is still going in the right way.
Okay. So my last question to you would be, is there anybody you'd love to make a pastry for?
Oh, so many. But I remember when I don't know why, but I don't know. Right now, if you ask me,
Uh,
I'm just. I remember I woke up one morning and I posted saying that I'm not gonna bake the night before. I said tomorrow's break, we're not gonna bake all of that, and then I went to sleep. And then I woke up in the morning. I had a dream that Barack Obama was in my dream, asked me to bake.
okay.
So only for that dream, if I could bake for him, it'd be great.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Vinesh. And
No, thank you
it
so much.
was it was lovely talking to you. It was really fun, and you gave so much of information as well. And I hope more students get inspired, by you and come and join Lavon as well.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to coming and eating as soon as all the lockdown
No,
and
I'm so
stress
excited to
is
meet you in
over.
person.
Yes.
Thank you for doing this with me. Thank you all for watching this live. I don't know, we were just chatting and chilling, but it's great. 5 o'clock in the evening, you guys were free now, free to hang out with us. So
Yeah.
thanks everyone.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Vinesh. All the best and see you soon. Take care.
All right, bye bye.
Bye. Bye.